hurt by this, you should contact them. The next day, I wrote Julie and Frank von Zerneck a letter. And so I did. I wrote them a letter and sent it certified to them.
Oh, wow.
This is unbelievable. I mean...
Yeah.
It's like a little girl's dream of how she wants parents, and it's come true type,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Wow.
We need, it's the top of the hour, so we need to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we will go ahead and talk about what it was like when you approached your mom and how all that happened in your meeting. And we'll go on from there. So don't go, folks. You're listening to an incredible story here on the... We'll be back.
Hey everyone, Scott Grossberg of ThinkingMagically.com, and it's time for us to spend another magic moment here together on the Hey Z Radio Network. I want to share with you 3 of the master strategies that provide you with a guaranteed process for taking the people you interact with on an entertaining ride they won't forget. Strategy 1. Have an intimate relationship with the people you choose to have in your life. Heck, have a love affair with them. Make them feel understood. Make them feel cherished. Let them see your commitment and dedication. Let them feel your passion. If you want to sleepwalk through your life, you're just asking for them to have an affair with someone else. Go ahead. Be jealous. They're your chosen friends and playmates and no one else's. But you also need to deserve them as well. Strategy 2. Make your story, make yourself seductive, compelling, and glamorous. Before you can do this, of course, you have to know what story it is that you're telling in the first place. Carefully and deeply think through precisely what you believe someone with whom you have contact wants to experience. And carefully and deeply think through what kinds of companions and associates you want to attract. And here's a reality check for you. You are not the ideal individual for every person living on this planet. When you establish your target friend, you will instantly know the overpowering story they need to hear from you. Then, and only then, will you be in brilliant control of your own story. And when you are really in control, you will begin to develop an excited and devoted fan base. And strategy 3, start filling in the blanks for yourself. Finish the sentence. A magical life is... Perhaps you've answered, a magical life is mysterious, or a magical life is inspirational. Maybe you've said, a magical life is seductive. Whatever you've come up with is how you will shape the theme and tone of your life. A successful life is not about a strange collection of odd talents that have no context with each other. It is about the systematic relationship you have with your audience. That relationship is built around the sentences you've just created. I look forward to spending more magic moments with you next week. Until then, feel free to contact me through my website, thinkingmagically.com, Facebook, Google+, or LinkedIn, and
At the world through the wide-angle lens. It's The Broader View with Hay-Z and Belle Salisbury on the Hay-Z Radio Network. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back to The Broader View, and with my co-host here, Joanne Arnaud, and with our guest, Frank von Zerneck and Kathy Hatfield, with the book, Masika Storms, A Mother and Daughter Lost and Found. And unfortunately, Julie isn't able to be with us this evening, but we've got her husband, Frank, who is just as much part of the story as Julie is, and I think he's actually, as we've been talking, he's an integral piece of this because of it being so close to Father's Day. And as Kathy mentioned at the beginning of the first segment, the importance of having a father figure, and with the understanding that when Julie and Frank gave Kathy up as a baby, or actually Julie, Frank didn't even know.
Right.
They never forgot her. They never, X'd her out of your lives. I mean, she was, like you said, you celebrated birthdays, you acknowledged her at your wedding, which I think is incredible. Incredible.
Yes.
And all this while you had no idea where she was.
Z, we were talking when we were off the air that this is a reunion story.
Yeah.
A daughter finds her mother and a daughter finds her father. And, that's wonderful. But the truth is, so many of these adoptees finding their natural parents, these things very often don't end well.
No, they don't.
They become really problematic and difficult for the people involved. Sometimes parents don't want to be found. So the thing that makes this different is when Julie and Kathy worked over the 3 years to put together Secret Storms, they built a relationship with each other, and they were able to deal with each, Julie's sense of where are you, who are you, and Kathy's sense of abandonment and anger at having been given up. Why did you do this? So that all of those issues were dealt with and are now part of the book. And, that I think is what makes it special. Also, Kathy mentioned that it's out as a book and you can get it anywhere on any platform. What's so great about books and publishing these days is, years ago you'd have to go to your bookstore. Now it's on e-books and Kindles and, it's available anywhere. Barnes and Noble has all kinds of sites, and the new information is that it's now an audiobook.
Yes,
which I happen to like. I listen to audiobooks in the car.
I do too. I love it.
You know, in California, you do nothing but drive. So I'm like the best read person in the state because I'm driving so much. And the wonderful thing is, it's taken off, you know, like a bullet. They used to say in my day, number 9 with a bullet. This book is really touching people. When the audiobook was released literally 10 days ago, it's like shot up. So it's working. It's a wonderful read and a wonderful story. I'm sorry, I'm sounding like a commercial. I shouldn't do that.
No.
Promote.
That's what this is about. This is your show, not mine. I had nothing to do with it. But Kathy, when you discovered who your parents were, who your siblings were, how quickly after that did you contact your mother and father?
Well, once I decided to write them a letter, I sat down and wrote a carefully worded letter. I didn't want to, I wanted to give them an out. Yeah. So I wrote the letter as if they weren't my parents, but as if they knew my parents, knew who they were. Oh, okay. Because I wanted them to be able to maybe contact me and say, I'm sorry, we don't know who these people are, and not feel bad about it. I wanted to give them an out. So I carefully wrote the letter, and then I held it for a week before I mailed it, because I knew once I put that letter in the mailbox, there was no turning back, and that I could be met with rejection or acceptance or something in between. And, during that week while I was holding the letter, I thought to myself, all right, listen, I'm a middle-aged woman. I am who I am. Whether they reject me or accept me, it's not going to change who I am, Right. And that's really why I moved forward, because I knew that I was strong enough to handle either scenario. So it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. There was a lot of thought behind contacting them.
Sure.
So, yeah.
No. And, from our point of view, literally like 44 years after her birth, I come back. I came back. Julie at that point had a bookstore and was running that, and I was doing films for television, some of them in Winnipeg. And I came home, and Julie sees this certified letter in the mail, and she says, "Oh dear, what's this?" Certified letters are rarely good news.
Yeah, exactly.
And she opened it, and she said, "Frank, I think you better come here." And when we read it, Kathy's right. It was a letter that basically gave us an out. I think you may have information about my parents. I was born on April 19th, 1964, and given up for adoption at Catholic Charities. And when we read that, it was like, oh, my God, it's her.
Wow.
We went to Julie's office. Kathy left her phone number. First, we called the children and told them what had happened. And then Julie dialed Kathy's number and got her on the phone. And Julie said, well, I may be able to help you, but tell me a little bit about yourself. And the two of them talked for 10 minutes. And Julie at one point simply said, well, I'm your mother.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then she said, and I married your father. Would you like to speak to him?
Oh, my gosh.
And Kathy got on the phone with me, and it was like, oh, my God. It was, a moment we've been waiting for all of our lives.
Yeah.
But God bless them, the two of them, instead of rushing to meet each other, they decided to take it slow, Skypes and photos, email, and slowly build a bridge to each other.
Yeah, that was
really, I think that was really smart of them. I had nothing to do with that decision. It was up to me to get on the next plane.
Yeah,
Kathy,
it probably was the smartest thing that we did because, think about it. When a woman becomes pregnant, it takes time to get used to the idea of having a child, and you're given 9 months.
Yes.
That gestation period to let your emotions catch up with your reality. And we really did the same thing. innately we did it. It wasn't like, okay, well, let's wait 9 months. It just worked out that way, that we slowly got to